Back to the basics. Part 2. We're talking multiplication division again. But today we're talking about special rules. We're talking about whether a value is going to end up being positive or negative. Remember, these are very, very, very big polar opposite concepts, positive and negative. Here's your problem of the day. There are 4 problems, 2 multiplication, 2 division. Yesterday we talked about how we can break down multiplication and division and visualize them. For example, 12 divided by 4. We draw 4 groups and we break, I'll even start one up for you, we break 12 into them evenly, like shuffling or dealing a card deck, I should say. 3 times 5, you draw out 3 sets and put 5 in each, count it out. Go ahead and pause, and when you're ready, we'll continue with the lesson. Here we go. The multiplication chart, a very important, very easy to use tool. What it does, it takes all of the multiples between 1 and 12 and finds all the possible combinations. How we use it, for example, 8 times 9. You can either circle or run your finger across and find where 8 and 9 cross. So 8 times 9 is 72, because that's where the two intersect. Let's try 2 more together, and I'll let you try 3 and 4 on your own. So 12 times 9. We find 12, and we see where it crosses with 9. 12 and 9 cross at 108. So 12 times 9 is 108. 8 times 7. I find where 8 and 7 cross. So, like I said, you can either run your finger, you can circle, you can highlight, you can do whatever you need. 8 and 7 cross at 56. Sorry, I kind of drew over it there. On your own, try 3 and 4. Go ahead and pause. $11 times 12 should have come out to be 132. 6 times 9 should have been 54. Multiplying by 0, a very, very, very special rule. Anything that you multiply by 0 automatically becomes 0. If I have 7 sets of nothing, I have nothing. 6 times 9 times 3, well, I could do 6 times 9 is 54, times 3 is 162, times 0, well, I killed it, 0. This one I'm throwing in here is a curveball. I see a 0, but the value is not 0. So this would be 60. If you look at this long problem, we can go through and calculate the whole thing, but I see a 0. It's all being multiplied by 0 at some points. My answer is 0. Again, think about it. If I have 0 sets of something, I have nothing. You can be as rich as you want, but if you have $0 in the bank account, you got nothing. Negative times negative equals positive. All right, general rule, negative times negative equals positive. So if I have negative 3 times negative 3, I get positive 9. Multiply the values, or the digits I should say, and then figure out if it's positive or negative. Negative 8 times negative 5. Negative times negative is positive. 8 times 5 is 40. Again, you can go back and look what 8 times 5 is on your multiplication chart, or use the rules that we talked through yesterday. Negative 30 times negative 2. Well, I know that 30 times 2 is 60. Negative times negative is positive. Negative 8 times negative 3. Well, negative 8 times negative 3, we ignore the sign for a second. 8 times 3 is 24. Negative times negative is positive. The general rule, the way to remember this is, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I have up here the example of a shark and a pilot fish. The shark gets sick from the bacteria. The fish eat the bacteria. So despite the shark and the fish not really having much in common other than a common enemy, they're friends. The fish is not there to help the shark. It's there just to eat, but it's helping. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Negative, negative, positive. Enemies are negative things. If you have an enemy, you have a friend, positive. Turn to the page. On your own, try 1 through 4. Go ahead and pause and come back when you're ready. Here we go. Negative times negative. My answer is positive. I know that. 12 times 6 from looking at my multiplication chart is 72. 9 times 8, so negative 9 times negative 8. I should get positive 72. Negative times negative is positive. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Negative 2 times negative 3. Enemy, enemy, friend. So I know my answer is positive. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 26. Number 4 should be 48. When you're multiplying a negative times a positive, I like to think of it as someone who has a negative outlook on life or someone who does or makes negative choices having a bad effect on a positive person. So I use the example of smoking. Let's say you're a positive person, you make good choices, but your friend's a bad negative influence on you. This is peer pressure. They offer you a cigarette, you start making your own negative choices. So when a positive person is influenced by a negative person, sometimes they make negative choices. So negative 6 times 3. Well, I know that 6 times 3 is 18. Negative times positive is negative. So if they're opposite signs, they are negative. The answer is negative. 5 times 6 I know is 30. And I know that positive times negative is negative. Negative 4 times 7. I know automatically that it's negative answer. 4 times 7 is negative 28. 35 times negative 2. Again, just looking at it, a positive number with a negative influence, we're going to get a negative answer no matter what. 35 times 2 is 70. On your own, give 1, 2, 3, and 4 a try. I'll pause and I'll come right back. Here we go. Negative 8 times 2. Negative times positive. They're opposites, so my answer is negative. 12 times negative 8. Well, 12 times 8 is 96. Negative times positive is negative. You see how you could figure out the sign first or after. These rules really give you a little wiggle room, but you need to make sure that the sign is correct. Negative 9 times negative 4. Well, this one's in here to kind of see if you're paying attention. Negative times negative. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. 9 times 4 is 36. I know it's positive because they are the same sign. Same sign positive, opposite sign negative. Negative 5 times positive 9. They're opposite signs, so I get negative 45. Dividing negative numbers. The rules are the same for dividing. If I have two negatives, I get a positive. Negative 30 divided by negative 10 is positive 3. Negative 25 divided by negative 5 is positive 5. Likewise, if I have opposite signs, one negative, one positive, negative 30 divided by positive 10 is negative 3. So if they're opposite signs, my answer is negative. Same signs, the answer is positive. 25 divided by negative 5, the answer is negative 5. Go ahead and give that a try on your own, and we'll come right back. All right, they are the same. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 should be positive 4. Negative 12 divided by negative 8, well, that is a typo. I'm not going to expect you guys to do that one, so skip that. Sorry about that. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. They're opposite signs, so the answer is negative. Likewise, 9 divided by negative 3. Still opposite signs. All I did was make one positive to begin with, one negative to begin with. Just change the sign over. The answer is still negative 3. Now, if you're multiplying more than one number, more than two numbers together, the rules are a little bit different. If we look, here I have two negatives. When I multiply it, I get 18, positive 18. Here I see just one negative. 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, times 1 is 24. I'll tell you right now the answer is negative 24. If you threw that in a calculator. If you look, 2 negatives makes a positive. 1 makes negative. Let's try another one. Remember, division rules are exactly the same. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. Negative 30 divided by negative 5 is positive 6. Divided by positive 2 is positive 3. Divided by negative 1 is negative 3. Divided by negative 3 is positive 1. An even number of negatives gives you a positive answer. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives, so an odd number of negatives. Negative 40 by negative 1 is positive 40. Divided by negative 2 is negative 20. Divided by negative 5 is positive 4. Divided by negative 4 is negative 1. The trend here is when you have an even number of negative signs, the answer is positive. Plus for positive. When you add an odd number of negative signs, the answer is negative. Go ahead and give the exit slip a shot. Your homework is right here. First section, you're doing multiplication. Second, you're dealing with division. The last section, you're doing more than two numbers that you are multiplying together. So you have to use the rule of odd number of negatives, you get a negative answer. Even number of negatives, you get a positive answer. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in class.